The WRC has arrived in South America. This is Rally Argentina, an event with a bit of everything. It's a gravel event, but the surfaces differ greatly. The stages vary from fast, wide and smooth to tight, technical and bumpy. They soar to an altitude of over 2,000 meters, and the weather is also an unknown factor. And if you want a man who can handle all these conditions, you'd probably choose Sebastian Loeb. He's won the first 4 events this season, and the bad news for his rivals is that he's won in Argentina for the past 4 years too.
We couldn't be in a better position, but we have only 10 points lead and 1 mistake and 1 victory from Mikko, and it's equal again, so it's important to be concentrated and not to lose this advantage we have at the moment.
So can he be beaten here?
Can be, yeah, but I thought so in Norway and Portugal and in Cyprus, but I still have all the faith in our car and in myself.
Mikko has good chances. Mikko was very strong here. He has some chances to beat him.
I think it's quite simple that everything needs to be right and we need to be faster than him. I mean, it's that simple.
How would you beat Sebastian Loeb? If you were someone trying to beat you, how would you do it?
No chance.
Loeb's 100% record this season puts him on 40 points in the Drivers' Championship. That's 10 ahead of Mikko Hirvonen. Danny Sordo is third on 23 points. Loeb and Sordo's performances mean their Citroën team are way out in front in the Manufacturers' Championship. They lead their main rivals Ford by 24 points. So this is a big event for Ford team boss Malcolm Wilson as he seeks to re-establish his team as contenders in both championships. And we'll be giving you an insight into how he tries to motivate his drivers for this event. The Citroën team warmed up for this rally by demonstrating their skills on the streets of the nation's capital, Buenos Aires, where they also attended the biggest event of the Argentine football calendar, Boca Juniors versus River Plate. See how they got on later in the programme. Argentina occupies much of the southern part of the continent of South America. Right in the middle of the country is the city of Cordoba, home to Rally Argentina. Most of the stages are situated to the north and west of here. There are 23 in total. And the first of those was the super special stage at Cordoba's football stadium on Thursday night. A major feature of this rally is the passion of the fans, and they enjoyed the display put on by the WRC's finest. And it was that man, Sebastian Loeb, who claimed top spot on the 2.5 kilometre circuit. So Loeb is the leader as the rally headed for the stages proper on Friday. And for more info on those, here's Peter Solberg's co-driver, Phil Mills.
Argentina 2009, day 1, total of 142 kilometres, 4 stages repeated, 4 classic stages all been used in the past. Starts with stage number 2, La Cumbra, 15 kilometres. A classic stage been the scene of many incidents in the past, and last year was completely shrouded in fog. Stage number 3, Ascochinga. I think that probably will be the stage where something might happen. You either get that stage very right or you get it very wrong. So I predict that that stage is where it'll all happen on the first day.
After several days of hot sunny weather, the first day of the rally proper is met with cooler cloudy conditions. There is a possibility of rain, but for now it remains dry. Sebastian Loeb is already into the 15 kilometres of La Cumbre. Can the Frenchman make it an incredible 5 out of 5 Argentina victories? It's a tricky, bumpy start to the rally, and after the recent dry spell, it's rougher than normal, and there is a thick top layer of loose gravel, which will leave Seb struggling for grip as the first car on the road. Mikko Hirvonen is giving it absolutely everything here, despite these rough conditions. Mikko's made a strong getaway in La Cumbre. Both he and Loeb's teammate Danny Sordo have gone quicker than the world champion. Quickest of all, though, is Jari-Matti Latvala. The 24-year-old storms into the rally lead on stage 2. No mean feat on his first outing following his terrifying accident in Portugal. Latvala the early leader then, and Loeb with some work to do. Next up is the 22 kilometres of Argentina, where Phil Mills predicted we could expect some drama. In these dry, dusty conditions, it's little surprise that championship leader Sebastian Loeb has been a little off the pace running as the first car on the road. It's still early days though, and the Frenchman will happily bide his time until the stage is clear of loose gravel on the afternoon loop. Not far behind Loeb into the stage is Mikko Hirvonen. The Finn will have a slight advantage as he can follow Loeb's tracks in the loose gravel. But the hanging dust Loeb has left behind is affecting visibility in places. That's an unwelcome distraction for Ford's number one. Danny Sordo is next into Argentina. Danny's co-driver Mark Marti knows how to win in Argentina, having claimed victory here in 2004 alongside Carlos Sainz. That was the last win of El Matador's career, so it would be fitting if his countryman could claim his first victory in South America. But what a start it's been for Jari-Matti Latvala. Another blisteringly quick opening morning, but that may have sent alarm bells ringing at Ford HQ back at service. The Finns' focus this weekend will be to make it to the finish with a solid point score.
30. Oikein 2. Jatkuu nyppy. Oikein 4. Hämää.
Up ahead, Hirvonen is still attacking hard despite driving through patches of Loeb's hanging dust. And a chance now to compare the early pace of the Works, Fords and Citroens in this stage with virtual spectator. Approaching the 10.2 kilometre split time, and it's Danny Sordo who's been setting the early pace in here. His teammate Loeb is a second behind, closely followed by Hirvonen. While it looks like Latvala has backed off a little, he's 4.7 behind Sordo, at that point roughly halfway through the stage. Although Hirvonen produces a late burst of speed, pulling ahead of Loeb to beat the world champion by 1.5 seconds. Sordo has maintained his pace throughout the long climb through Argentina as the Spaniard charges on towards the red finish spot. Is looking good to beat Hirvonen absolutely flat out to the finish. And that is a great bit of driving from Danny, 4.8 seconds quicker than Mikko, and he passes the Finn on the leaderboard.
It's good. This morning I lost some time at the end because a lot of dust. But also here at the start, a lot of dust, but I take more risk than the last one.
Sordo happy with his start then, back with the current leader Latvala, and after that steady start to the stage, has the Ford driver responded?
150.
It doesn't look like it. He's going to be a lot slower than Danny and will lose the lead here.
150.
Yes, 8.2 seconds slower than that terrific time set by Sordo. The Spaniard takes over the lead. Latvala clearly opting for a more cautious approach in there. So Sordo takes over at the front with Latvala slipping down to third behind Mikko Hirvonen. Loeb is fourth, 3.1 seconds ahead of Petter Solberg. Henning Solberg is sixth. It's all very tight at the top then as the crews make their way to the final two stages before a return to service at Carlos Paz. And into the 23-kilometre stage for Capilla del Monte, it's Mikko Hirvonen's turn to make a charge. Good commitment here from the Finn. He's giving it everything to make up the 1.8-second deficit on the rally leader. And Danny Sordo cannot match his time. He's 5.2 seconds slower than Mikko on stage 4 and loses his lead. Hirvonen becomes the fourth leader in as many stages. Sebastian Loeb, meanwhile, is bang on the pace in both tests. Second quickest on 4 and then fastest on 5. The championship leader charges up from 4th to 2nd, passing Sordo and Latvala. Petter Solberg has never won in Argentina but has finished second twice and demonstrates his ability by going quickest in stage 4 in his 3-year-old Citroen Zara. And on stage 5 he moves ahead of Latvala to claim 4th. So just 9.1 seconds separate the top 5 at the end of the first morning. Hirvonen leads the way with Sebastian Loeb just 0.6 of a second back, and Sordo, Petter Solberg and Latvala are still very much in the mix. It's Loeb, though, who's the centre of attention in the service park in Carlos Paz.
I'm quite happy with the position. We are still in the fight. First on the road was maybe not so good in the morning, but also maybe not so bad because we've done one best time, and so no, I'm happy. The car is very good.
Everything's under control. I mean, I'm really pleased how the morning went, and everything has been working, so it's looking good.
Second pass through the stages this afternoon. Can you hold on to the lead, do you think?
Well, we'll see. It's still a long way to go, so if we are first or second or third, it doesn't matter so much at this point. So especially if it looks like it's going to be so close with everybody, then it's just going to be a good fight all the way through. So we'll see. Only thing what matters is Sunday night, so we'll see how it goes.
So all going well for the BP Ford Abu Dhabi team, but it's been a tough 2009 so far. Second best to Citroën, and beset by driver errors, the British-based outfit's title challenge has faltered, sometimes in spectacular fashion. And with the all too familiar sight of Sebastian Loeb on the winner's podium rubbing salt into their wounds, the pressure is on, and it's on one man in particular.
At the end of the day, yeah, I mean, you know, the buck does stop with me. I'm the one that, you know, if we're not winning, I have to answer to Ford, which at the moment is not, you know, we're not doing that, and of course, you know, that pressure as well.
As team manager, Malcolm Wilson knows that the crucial difference between Ford and Citroën this season has been the performance of their drivers. And if he's to coax the best out of Hirvonen and Latvala, he needs to understand his drivers' psychological makeup.
They're all different, and you have to understand the little things what make them tick and the little things that upset them. And as I say, some are easier than others, and you know, as I said, Mikko's fantastic from that point of view. He's very much his own man.
Wilson also aids the progress of his lead driver with essential technical advice and analysis.
So this is where we quickly just analyse the first few stages and overlay the data between the various drivers that are in a fight for the lead. So at this point in time, I'm going to have to ask you to lead, because we don't want to divulge any information to the opposition.
He keeps the show going and makes sure everything is right. And you know, big thing for me is that I know, or we know each other so well that we don't need to talk so much what we have to achieve and what we can achieve. And for me, that's a big thing.
So can the four drivers maintain their strong start? Day one of Rally Argentina continues after this break. The top five are separated by less than 10 seconds on day one of Rally ACA Argentina. Mikko Hirvonen is the current leader. Danny Sordo is clearly a fan of the Askachinga stage. He's fastest in here again and secures a time 5.6 seconds quicker than Hirvonen. He jumps up from third to first. Jani-Matti Latvala's hopes of staying in touch with the leaders have been dealt a blow, though. After picking up a slow puncture after a small jump, the Finn loses the best part of a minute. Lady Luck clearly still eluding the 24-year-old at the moment.
Jatkuu vasen 3, heti oikein 2. 50 vasen 2, jatkuu jarru vasen 4, älä.
Sordo is back out front then after stage 6, while Latvala is now almost a minute behind the leader in 6th. On to stage 7, and Loeb has fought his way back from a sluggish start to get back on terms with Sordo and Hirvonen. But he's been beaten by his rivals again so far this afternoon. The crowd loving the action this afternoon, and the fight at the front is showing little sign of easing up. The split times have ebbed and flowed throughout this 23-kilometre test, but it's looking like another strong time from Hirvonen. Sordo begins the stage just 0.6 of a second ahead of Ford's number 1 and is giving it everything to hold on here.
Queda 9 rasante, a fondo salta, 40, frena derecha 5, ojo cuneta, 5 ojo cuneta, acaba rasante y queda 5.
Peter Solberg has revealed he's having to drive well over the limit to make up for his power deficit in the older Citroën Zara. He's put in one of the performances of the day to stay in touch with the leading trio, and although he's only 5th fastest in stage 7, he's still within 14 seconds of the leader. Back with Loeb, and he's still been unable to match the leading pair in here. At the end of the stage, the unflappable Frenchman is beginning to look a little concerned.
Sebastian, the last bit that I have, you're 0.7 slower than Mikko, so it's not so bad.
Not so bad. I was driving well. It's hard for the tire, I think, so we have some work. I have to go.
Back with Hirvonen now, though, and the fight for the lead is still holding the attention. This time, it's the Finn who's fought back, and he reclaims the front spot at the first time of asking. Sordo falls back down to 2nd. What a fight for the lead we have here in Argentina. Moving straight on to the final 2 stages of the afternoon then, and Hirvonen still locked in battle with Sordo. Just 0.7 of a second separate them as they come into stage 8. Mikko is first into the stages and is determined to end the day out front. There's little sign of any tactics to manipulate his road position for the second day. Sordo clearly hasn't given up on the top spot though, and is relishing this fight at the front. Looking at the target time, the Spaniard needs to get back in front, and the lead could change yet again here. No, but this battle could not be any tighter. Sordo is dead level with Hirvonen to the nearest 1/10 of a second. Incredible. A terrific fight to the finish then on this first afternoon, and Sordo saved the best for last. A stunning drive through the 15 kilometres of La Cumbre sees the Spaniard beat Hirvonen by over 5 seconds and storm back into the lead. Sebastian Loeb, meanwhile, had concerns with his tyres in the previous test. No signs of problems in the San Marcos stage, where he once again sets the fastest time, but there are real problems in the second run through La Cumbre. He stalled the car there, and this is an uncharacteristically untidy display from the Frenchman. And another stall again. What is going on here? Loeb drops over 13 seconds to the new leader, Sordo. For Lavela, meanwhile, the fight back has already begun. He has a mountain to climb to get back on terms with the leading trio, but he goes quickest on the final stage, ensuring that no one's been able to string 2 stage wins in a row together on this opening day. The Finn doing all he can to make up some of the time lost with that earlier puncture. Henning Solberg is Latvala's first target. The Norwegian passed the Finn after Jari-Matti's puncture and is 18.5 seconds ahead at the end of the day. We've had 4 different leaders and the top spot has changed hands 6 times, but it's Danny Sordo who leads the way by 5.1 seconds, with Loeb now 16.3 down on his teammate. The Solberg brothers are 4th and 5th, with Latvala still 6th. And Malcolm Wilson is more than satisfied with Jari-Matti's performance after his difficult opening to the season, and he gave us another insight into how he's influencing the performance of his driver here.
We've obviously had quite a few discussions on areas how we can try and improve what's been happening, and I'm really pleased to say that that it's working well here, and I think Mika's taking a little bit more control probably in the car now as well. So as I say, really pleased that he's got a platform now to go forward on.
And those final stages may have shown up a small weakness in Sebastian Loeb's armoury.
I think it's a bit more the engine fault than mine. We have sometimes some backfire in very low raves, and in this kind of hairpin it can happen, and I was a bit unlucky 2 times that it stalled.
So a breathless opening day in Argentina, and with some classic stages to come, day 2 will be special as well. See you after the break. Welcome back to Rally Argentina, where after one day, the top 4 drivers are covered by less than 20 seconds. To tell us what's coming up in day 2, here's Phil Mills.
Rally Argentina 2009, day 2. 4 stages repeated. Starts with a stage that hasn't been used since 2000, I think, which is El Mirador. Very, very fast stage, definitely the fastest stage of the rally. Then we move on to Mina Clavero, we go up the mountain, and then we go El Condor, down the mountain, the famous one, and then a new stage, Icho Cruz, which is at the back of Carlos Pass, a very, very technical stage. Lots of big jumps and crests to finish, but that's never been used before.
The stage is set for another nip and tuck battle between the Fords and Citroens today. First up, as Phil just mentioned, is a return to El Mirador for the first time in 9 years. Danny Sordo is leading a gravel rally at the start of a new day for only the second ever time and has shown he's a real force to be reckoned with on these Argentine stages. The Spaniard begins with a slim advantage of just 5.1 seconds. Mikko Hirvonen is in a Citroen sandwich this morning, but knows his Ford Focus works well on these dry, sandy surfaces. The lead has already changed hands 7 times, and with very little to separate the leading trio, this rally could go down to the wire as Mikko crosses this stage's famous water crossing. Loeb began the day 16.3 seconds down on the leader, and we can expect one of the Frenchman's customary second aid charges this morning. He's absolutely on the limit, and through the early split times, Loeb is indeed well up on both Sordo and Hirvonen. Back with Mikko, and he's using every inch of this wide road to find the fastest line. He doesn't match the time set by Sordo, though. 2.1 seconds slower. It's not a good start to the day for Mikko. And with Loeb charging through this first run through El Mirador, there could be even worse news to come for Ford's number 1. Oh, he hit that bump very hard, way too fast, and did well to stay on the road there. A scary moment, but he survived that and is still on course to set a good time. What a performance. Seb's more than 5 seconds quicker than Mikko and beat his teammate too, but he's clearly a bit rattled by that close call.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's very difficult. It's very humid with some mud in some place, and it's very tricky. And it's a strange bump at the end. Limit went off the road in 6th gear, but 4 corners before the end. I didn't know. Oh, incredible. So we are lucky to be here. That's the first thing, and 3 seconds is better than nothing.
Veli-Matti Latvala starts today in 6th, but is on course to make up a good chunk of time on Henning Solberg in here. Somehow he's lost his bonnet, which must be distracting. Amazingly, he still manages a good time and closes on the 2 Solberg brothers ahead of him. He's still got 3 stages to survive without his bonnet, though. No change in position after stage 10, with Sordo still leading, but a number of places are looking increasingly threatened. Loeb is now just 5.9 seconds behind Hirvonen, and the gap between Latvala and Henning Solberg is down to 13.5. Next up, we have 2 of the WRC's classic stages, Mina Clavero and El Condor. Quite simply, Mina Clavero climbs up the Sierra Grande mountain and El Condor takes the cars back down. The crews will experience one of the most striking landscapes in the WRC as the cars ascend to an altitude of over 2,000 meters and then cross the mountain.
I think because of the landscape, it's really a beautiful area. It's completely different from what you are used to see. It looks a bit like the moon. I was never on the moon, so I cannot say.
I don't understand how they managed to build roads on that place. And it's just very narrow, very twisty, driving between the rocks all the time. And the scenery is absolutely fantastic.
It's very different and unique, and it's great to have those like classic stages, you know, because I remember seeing them when I was a kid on TV and that, so it's great to be able to drive on them.
And if they dare take their eyes off the road, they may catch sight of one of the majestic creatures, the largest flying land bird in the Western Hemisphere, that give the El Condor stage its name.
I've been up there before the recce started, just to have a look at the condors and stuff before you on the way up. So, yeah, it's good, but you don't really see it on the rally.
And there are thousands of fans up on the mountain. The first driver they will see is rally leader Danny Sordo. And like all the drivers, he'll be experiencing a loss of power in the engine. As this is at high altitude, there's less air to mix with fuel in his Citroen C4's engine.
Acaba 6 corta, 10, 6 corta, 10, derecha 5, rápida 30. 5 rápida y 30. Frenar izquierda 3, lenta, larga y se cierra poco. Lenta y larga.
Back in the service park at Carlos Paz, 14 boss Malcolm Wilson is watching proceedings closely by monitoring the split times. And his driver Mikko Hirvonen is on his way up the Sierra Grande now. No chance for the drivers to enjoy the view though, and Mikko has a hard-charging Sebastian Loeb hot on his heels. It's extremely tight and twisty up there and very narrow. Mikko needs to be inch perfect. Let's use Virtual Spectator to compare him against the championship leader at the 15.4 kilometre split, and Loeb is comfortably ahead. 6 seconds his advantage.
Oh, +6. This is going the wrong way, guys.
Malcolm Wilson frustrated by the speed of Sebastian, and he's looking fully in control as he passes through the top of the stage, the huge boulders giving this stretch of road its famous moonscape backdrop. Loeb sets another fastest time, surging past Hirvonen and into second, and that means more work ahead for the full team as they plan how to stop the Frenchman pulling away. Loeb now just 2.6 seconds behind Sordo. Can he take the lead on the descent of the mountain through El Condor? It's a tricky, slippery ride downhill, and getting the braking points right will be all important. Can Danny Sordo find some pace to mix in with the caution needed to survive these rugged roads? The Spaniard's lead is looking increasingly fragile. Hirvonen had already closed up on Sordo by 2.5 seconds, and with Danny clearly struggling as the first car on the road, Mikko is quicker than the Citroën again in stage 12 and moves past Sordo by a margin of just 0.7 of a second. So, signs of a response from Hirvonen and the Ford team then, and with Loeb beginning El Condor just 2.1 seconds ahead of Ford's number 1, has Mikko's efforts in here been enough to get back on terms with the world champion? Loeb should beat him again in here though. Yeah, another good effort from Sebastian. He's now 5.3 seconds ahead of Hirvonen, and more importantly, has passed his teammate in there to take the rally lead. Behind the leading trio, Petter Solberg seems to be comfortable in 4th place. He's really struggling for power on these high-altitude stages in his 2005 spec Citroën Zara, though. By the end of the morning loop, the Norwegian is over 43 seconds behind the man who's now 3rd, Danny Sordo.
Need 2 left tightens, 1 tightens. Keep it in.
And Petter may soon have this man, Jari-Matti Latvala, to keep an eye on. Finn's recovery has continued after losing time with a puncture on day 1. He finally got past Henning Solberg in stage 11 to move up to 5th, despite still missing that bonnet. By the end of the short stage 13 that rounded off the morning loop, Latvala's closed to within 32 seconds of Petter Solberg. Up front, though, is the familiar sight of Sebastian Loeb back in the top spot. Back to the service park at Carlos Paz. Petter Solberg has always been a favourite here, and he's reflecting on his run through those classic stages.
It is beautiful, but if you just see all the people, you know, it's so good atmosphere, and it's just people have stayed there for 4 days in their tents and you know, and barbecue, and it's really good to see.
Sebastian, where did that speed come from this morning?
We didn't clean the road this morning, so it's going much better. And I had to push, but I'm pushing on my limit since the start of the rally yesterday. I think with the handicap to be first, it was not possible, but today it was much better for me.
On Minna Clavero stage, that's where we are really struggling. The car is not easy to drive on very narrow and twisty places, and we are always losing a lot of time over there.
What has Malcolm sort of given you some advice on in this service?
Go faster. I mean, we really need to win this rally. So we all know again what we need to do, and like I said earlier, Malcolm is really perfect on that way, that he keeps the atmosphere really good in the team, and he knows everybody so well that kind of understands that we know also what to do.
In the lead-up to Rally Argentina, the Citroën team hit the streets of Buenos Aires and put on a roadshow for the hordes of local rally fans. Sebastian Loeb and Danny Sordo tore it up in spectacular fashion, putting the C4 WRC well and truly through its paces. Thousands of fans lapped up the drivers' stunts, and the world champion seemed to be having a great time too.
It's a good feeling to drive like this, because it's not every day that someone give you a rally car and say go and do what you want. So no, it's very funny for us. I think it's a nice show for the spectators. That's the most important. And if everybody is happy today, I'm really happy also.
The day after the roadshow, Loeb, Sordo and their co-drivers attended the Boca Juniors River Plate football match. After meeting Boca's star striker Martin Palermo, they took in the intense atmosphere of the Super Classico, one of the world's most famous footballing rivalries.
It was the first time I see a football match, and it was one of the greatest of the world. So what impressed me the most was the atmosphere in the stadium. Here it's something incredible here. You see the supporters are really crazy, so it was good to see that.
The rally spectators are no less fanatical, and they are ready and waiting for the afternoon loop. After being soundly beaten by Sebastian Loeb in the morning, Mikko Hirvonen will be desperate to fight back here in stage 14. It's a good run through El Mirador for the Finn. With his first fastest time of the day, he shaves 1.2 seconds from Loeb's advantage, a crucial psychological boost. With Petter Solberg being delayed by his own puncture, it's all the invitation Jari-Matti Latvala needs to complete the latest stage of his comeback. The Finn passes his second Solberg brother of the day and moves up to 4th place. That will certainly please team boss Malcolm Wilson. Up to Mina Clavero again next. These iconic stages are traditionally only run once, and these sandy mountain passes will be some of the roughest we'll see this weekend. Sordo was well beaten by Hirvonen on the previous test, so he'll need to find some of the aggression he displayed on day one if he's to get back on terms with Ford's number one. Mikko, though, is really attacking hard again, despite the rough, rutted roads here on this second pass. By the 4th split time marker, 15.4 kilometres in, Mikko was another 11.3 seconds up on Sordo. But even quicker through the early splits is Loeb. Despite Hirvonen's charge, the Frenchman has somehow managed to find a fraction of a second more than Mikko with every passing kilometre. It's looking like Loeb and Hirvonen's relentless pace is beginning to leave Sordo slipping adrift. After his terrific run on day one, this is extremely frustrating for the young Spaniard.
I push him, but I don't know. I try, but I don't know what's the feeling for drive. I don't know. We need to go clean or more attack. It's really difficult.
Rejoining Hirvonen now as he takes on the final couple of kilometres of Mina Clavero. Oh, but there's steam suddenly pouring from the engine. A problem here for Mikko. This doesn't look good for Ford's number one with the engine temperature rising. He's been advised to back off by the team. This looks like cruel luck for Hirvonen, and he's losing a lot of time. With Mikko struggling, it leaves rally leader Loeb with a considerably easier job. He safely clears stage 15, and it's yet more good news for the world champion. There are frantic scenes in the road section immediately following the stage, and even this early in the season, it's an absolute disaster for Mikko's championship hopes. It's unclear what's caused the engine problem, but whatever it is, it's clearly serious. Despite Mikko's own considerable skills as a mechanic and advice from the team on the radio, it's not looking good. They get the engine restarted briefly, but it doesn't last long. A good effort from Mikko and Jarmo Lehtinen, but heartbreakingly, that's the end of the day for Hirvonen.
water pump for some reason is broken, and we have nothing we can really do to fix it. Or I did everything I can. I checked all the wires. I can't find any leak or anything, and when the engine was overheating, it just blew the water out. But even if we got water in it, the pump doesn't work, so that's it.
Where'd you go from here?
I think I'm just going to go back hotel, have a beer.
With Hirvonen out there, it provides a boost up the standings for those further back. Petter Solberg is up to 4th behind Latvala, despite losing time earlier with a puncture. He was lucky to get away with this spin on stage 17 as well.
Right, turn around. Wow.
Henning Solberg is up to 5th, but still over 44 seconds behind his younger brother.
Kort 2 høyre pluss.
Matthew Wilson has had a very consistent trouble-free run so far in Argentina. After beginning the day in 7th, he's gradually become involved in a battle for position with local star Federico Villagra. And that's now a fight for 6th. It looks like the multiple Argentinian national champion is getting the upper hand on the challenging gravel stages of his homeland, despite coming close to flipping the car on stage 16. Conrad Rautenbach was pushing hard to add to his points tally and put behind him memories of his fiery end to Rally Portugal. But the first run through El Condor would be his last. He clipped a rock and damaged his steering, and later hit a bridge and broke a wheel. Rautenbach's Citroën Junior teammate Sébastien Ogier is making his Argentinian debut. The Frenchman suffered a broken front damper late in the day, though, that would end his participation in the second leg. On to the final 2 mountain stages of the day, and Sébastien Loeb is in prime position to continue making his mark on rallying history. He already holds the record for a number of wins in Argentina and could extend that to 5 in a row if he can hold on tomorrow. Seb finishes the afternoon with a flourish with another fastest time on stage 17. With no change of position over the Cordoba Stadium Super Special that finished the day, Loeb holds a margin of almost a minute ahead of his teammate Dani Sordo. Ford's only consolation following Hirvonen's exit is that Latvala has moved into the final podium position. Not a day to remember for Ford, but it was an excellent one for their rival Citroën. Can they deliver more of the same on day 3? Find out after the break. Welcome back to the 3rd and final day of Rally ACA Argentina. There are still 5 more stages to run, and to give us an insight into what to expect, here's Phil Mills again.
Rally Argentina 2009 day 3. Just 5 stages, all single use, and a total of 48 kilometers. So a very short day, but all very, very tricky and important stages. The first stage, stage 19, probably the roughest stage of the rally. Very difficult, lots of river crossings, the one with the most river crossings. Stage 20, Valle Hermoso, very soily based stage. If it rains in there, it's a bit of a nightmare, but not this year, I don't think. Cosquin, very, very fast stage. And then Tanti Nuovo, which is a new stage this year, again quite fast. And finishing off again with the Cordoba Super Special, and a fantastic way to finish the rally.
Bright sunshine again for the start of the final morning, and the fans have certainly enjoyed the weather. Over 1 million of them are expected to have visited the stages this weekend, and they've witnessed yet another masterclass from 4-time world champion Sébastien Loeb. He heads into the 16-kilometre Via Giardino stage with a healthy lead of over a minute. And with Loeb's teammate Dani Sordo backing him up in second, it's looking like another perfect weekend for the Citroën team. There are a number of tricky water splashes and a lot of sharp, unforgiving bedrock around in this stage, though, so caution is still required, despite the leading pair's comfortable positions. While it's been a hugely frustrating weekend for Ford, the Blue Oval do at least have their second driver, Jari-Matti Latvala, in 3rd. The 24-year-old has shown impressive maturity to rise above the pressure surrounding him following his terrifying Portugal crash. He's already fought back to a podium spot and could be the one to watch in this final morning. As is so often the case, though, despite his huge lead, there is no sign yet of Loeb backing off. The world champion sets another impressive time through the day's opening stage. Back with Latvala, and he'll keep pushing as hard as he dares in his quest to keep the pressure on the two Citroens.
200. Keskeltä 40.
Oh, but something's wrong here.
Oil pressure.
Unbelievably, an oil pressure problem forces him to stop for several minutes.
We came to the long straights. There was a little jump before, and suddenly after the jump we lost the fuel pressure, and car stopped. And we tried a lot of things with the buttons and everything, and suddenly when I was rebooting the whole system, then it started again.
Do you believe in bad luck?
No, it seems. I have to believe.
The drama just keeps on coming then at this year's Rally Argentina, and Latvala's nightmare opens the door to Petter Solberg, who could now claim his second podium finish of the season.
20, 60 plus.
Something.
50.
Oh, but Petter's got problems now too.
How's the fuel?
15. It's looking very low. Crash turn.
It's all happening out there, and after another fantastic run from the former world champion, he's got fuel pressure problems and is coasting to a halt.
This isn't a good place to stop.
Devastatingly for Solberg, it is indeed game over for the former world champion.
It would be nice to just get up there on the podium again, you know, to get that champagne feeling. It's because it's unbelievable. So I'm gutted. Yeah.
So with two retirements in the top four, Henning Solberg replaces his brother in third. And Federico Valagra is now on course to finish in a career-best fourth place. And on his home event, he's sure to be cheered along every remaining kilometre by the thousands of his compatriots lining the stages. With Solberg out and Latvala falling back to sixth, there's a very different look to the leaderboard after stage 20. What is certain, though, is that Citroën are in control, with Loeb first and Sordo second. On to the last two rural stages before the finale back in Cordoba then, and although the two only cover 19 kilometres, there are plenty of flat-out bumpy sections around to be aware of. When Loeb ran very wide there, he's still pushing hard and entertaining the crowds with his ever-impressive car control. As has been the case for the last 4 years, the Frenchman has made this classic event his own. Further back, Matthew Wilson has recovered well from the first roll of his career in Portugal to get back to the consistent control driving that served him so well in the early rounds of this season. With the last pair of long stages cleared, the British driver should now secure his second top 5 finish of the season. Wilson has been involved in a fight for position since Saturday morning with Federico Valagra, but the Carlos Paz resident has done just enough to stay in front. Fifth fastest on stages 21 and 22, the Argentinian stays on course for his best ever result of 4th. And following Latvala's unfortunate delay, Henning Solberg is now the leading Ford driver, and the Stobart VK man is in line to score the 4th podium finish of his career. Jari-Matti Latvala finishes strongly, though, with the fastest times in stages 21 and 22, but has to settle for 6th. Way out in front, it's just a case of getting through these final kilometres for the two Citroën drivers. Danny Sordo has shown another terrific display of gravel driving again this weekend, particularly on the opening day. He may have been gifted second place following Hirvanen's exit, but that won't unduly concern the Spaniard. The rally's penultimate test is cleared with no dramas.
Everything good, no problem. The car is really well, and we don't have problems. Everything okay.
Loeb will have some sympathy for his chief rival Hirvanen. is nothing the Frenchman likes better than to win a three-day fight to the finish. As it is, his job was made considerably easier by the Ford-man's exit. But make no mistake, this has been another devastating display of driving from the world champion. The rally finishes at the Estadio Córdoba for one last blast through the 2.5 kilometre Super Special, and another chance for the local fans to get up close and personal with the world's greatest rally drivers. It's nothing more than a lap of honour for Loeb. After taking the lead on the second morning, the Frenchman has never looked back. The Citroën C4 has been as bulletproof as ever over this event's notoriously difficult roads. And with stage 23 completed, it's win number 52 for Sebastian and co-driver Daniel Elena. This season just keeps getting better and better for Citroën's number one.
It was a good fight with Mikko until Sunday midday, but the Saturday midday. But okay, then he had to retire, and since that, it's a bit less exciting. But it was a great fight, and I enjoyed a lot this rally.
Do you get sick of winning?
No, you never get sick of winning. But I think the day where you cannot win anymore, then it must be difficult.
So after the to and fro of the first day and a half, Loeb's winning gap is comfortably over a minute, and that's the second 1-2 of the season for Citroën, with Sordo in second. Henning Solberg picks up the 6 points for third. So it's another great weekend for Citroën team boss Olivier Kennel.
A real perfect finish, because Seb first, Danny second, and for us it's really nice. But I have to say it was quite complicated, not so easy as everybody could think.
You do feel sorry for Malcolm, though. It's been a bad weekend for him.
Really bad weekend. I'm really sorry for him, because honestly it's too much, you know. But this is it, and I hope in Sardinia it will be better for him.
Probably the most difficult weekend we've had for a long time. Certainly, difficult in one sense that we've had this disappointment, and I think it's probably why it's such a disappointment is because of the fact that we really felt on this event that we were very close. We felt we could really challenge Sebastian, and it's just a case now of trying to more test and development between now and Sardinia. So hopefully we can turn up there with the guys in a good frame of mind, and certainly a setup that's hopefully just going to take that next little step that we need to try and topple Sebastian.
So Loeb reaches the half-century of points in the Drivers' Championship, and Danny Sordo moves on to 31, which puts him into second ahead of Hirvonen. And Citroën are disappearing over the horizon in the Manufacturers' Championship. Their lead over Ford, now 39 points. For the 5th year running, the big winners in Argentina are Sebastian Loeb and Daniel Elena. And they've sent a clear message to their rivals: catch us if you can.